Reptiles Unplugged.
I'm John Feely of Feely's Clutch, and you are watching Reptiles Unplugged.
This is Will Rose from Royal Canadian Reptiles, and you're watching Reptiles Unplugged.
Guys, it's KB Reptiles.
Team Helga.
Team Beard.
And you're watching
Reptiles Unplugged.
It's Justin from Jacob Buck Reptiles, and you're watching Reptiles Unplugged.
Nick with Renowned Reptiles here, and you're watching Reptiles Unplugged.
It's your boy Harry Wayne from Royal Canvas Exotics, and you're tuning into Reptiles Unplugged.
You're Triple B, and you're watching Reptiles Unplugged.
Everybody, so here we are. Joel here from State Ready Exotics. Adam right next to me, and we are in for a good night. I tell you guys what. So, how are we doing tonight, everybody?
Oh yeah, doing good, Joel. Excited to be here. Tonight's interview is going to be awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be
Adam
good.
from Beach Bum. I want to turn it over to our guest to introduce himself tonight. So.
I don't know.
You guys can hear me, right?
I think we're live. I think we got sound. Everything's running good.
Okay. Can you guys see me?
Yeah, we can see you.
Dude, love the backdrop, man. Love that backdrop.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That is cool, man. I love the dude, your logo. It's probably one of my top 5 logos, man. It's such a cool logo.
It's like really funny because a lot of people have been asking how did I come out with the logo. There's like a well, not cool story, but like a really long story about it. Actually, the name came up from DeadMouze, right? Because it's one of my favorite DJ.
Right. Yeah, DeadMouze. Yeah.
DeadMouze is good.
So if you see his logo, it's like mouse, right? So like circle like that. Right. And then if you turn it like upside down, it's actually like a gas mask.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, I like that.
And then the idea behind it was actually because, like, in order to survive through these hobbies, there's a lot of toxic people.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that gas mask is kind of like, I just don't care about like what's going on outside. I just want to focus on my collection. Right. Create like cool combos. I don't want to, deal with a lot of drama. So that's kind of like the toxic kind of like, stay away from all the nonsense.
Right.
That's the kind of like the short story.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
dude, I like that a lot. So where's all like the DeadMouze t-shirts and stuff like that, man? Where's that at?
Yeah, so the problem is, when you create like a product with similar name or kind of like sound the same, it's kind of like copyright. I just don't want to have any issues. So what happened was I'm working on with this legal right kind of like copy infringement and things like that. Because you can have the logo and the kind of like similar name, but when you start producing kind of like merchants product with the same name, that could possibly create another issue in the long run.
Yes, yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, I'm creating like the same name, that's fine. Mm-hmm. But then when you're starting to make money out of it, technically.
Yeah.
That start kind of like copyright, whatever nonsense. So I'm working on those paperwork, but the t-shirt. So the way I structure it is, I just don't want to, like make money out of it or make more work out of it. So the way I structure it is like, I'm gonna make the t-shirt and then the polos and things like that, all the 9 year, right? But like all the profit is gonna go to my small foundation for unfortunate kids.
Oh, okay, man. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
that's
technically,
rad.
yeah. So, creating this product is just kind of like to fulfill all of these people that been asking like nonstop, like, hey, dude, where's your t-shirt, man?
Yeah.
I thought you were about to announce that just all your shirts and stickers were going to be free.
Yeah, you're just going to hand those out to everybody.
Yeah. No, it's actually free. No, that's actually true. Yeah. I don't know if everything is free.
It'll be a donation. It's a donation.
That's what I heard. We heard it
Yeah, no,
live.
no,
Yeah.
that's actually true. Yeah. So what happened was, like every time like someone purchased a snake or something like that, I'm gonna give away for free. But if
Right,
they wanna
right.
purchase it, it's gonna be like $25, I think, for the T-shirt.
Yeah, I feel like that's roughly what it like costs to
Yeah,
like ship it and do everything
yeah,
for it,
yeah.
right?
And then they have like two ways to do it. So they can either purchase it through the website like directly, or they can donate directly to the foundation and then send me the receipt. I'll send them the T-shirt.
Right.
So it's
Oh,
like
that's
two ways.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I
I
know
like that, man.
a lot of people, like in this hobby, they make up things, right? Like, oh, I'm doing this for like something, even though it's a bunch of crap. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, so you're trying to legitimize your statement
Yeah,
right
so
there.
it's like it's really true. I mean, if you don't believe me, just donate directly. Send me the receipt. I'll send
Right.
it to you.
Yeah, I like that, man. That's
Super easy.
that's a cool way to do it too, because I do know that we were kind of talking about some stuff earlier before the show started that maybe we
Yeah.
get into in a minute, but there is some
Uh-huh.
snaky stuff going around in the snake
Oh
industry.
my
That's for
God.
sure.
Yeah, a lot of them,
Yeah.
dude.
Okay, well, before we get like into too much stuff here, we get everybody a
Sure.
chance to show up. Maybe we could dive into a little bit of your story and kind of maybe how you got started out and bringing all this to fruition.
Yeah, sure. So this is like really weird because I used to hate snakes. Believe it or not.
Right.
You, well, yeah, not afraid that much, but just hate it because I grew up from this well, kind of like, well, not strict, but just like more, like anything related with snakes is just bad. You
Right,
know what I
right.
mean? You like sneaky, or snaky, or just a bunch
Yeah,
of scumbags, pretty much.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And then, long story short, one of my best friend, well, one of my business partner, he he got me this bumblebee, really
Right. Okay.
ugly bumblebee, dude. It's brown. It's like really bad, really bad. Yeah. I don't know what he was thinking, but back then, this ugly bumblebee was like really expensive. So
Right.
there's no way for me or him to get it back.
Yeah,
And then
right. Yeah.
I didn't recall like who he actually getting it from. Well, for sure not from Kevin because it was like super brown.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So it was
yeah.
low quality
Oh my
bumblebee.
God, yeah. He probably got it from like King Snake, like random breeders or something like that.
Right, right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
kingsnake.com, man.
oh my God, that's like wild west right there. You know, that's another story there. Anyway, yeah. So because he always knows that I always wanted a pet, but I'm due to my like super busy schedule.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, most people think like reptiles probably the best. Like anywhere from like turtles, whatever like that.
Right.
You only need to take care of them like once a week. Pretty
Right.
much.
Right.
And then for some reason he he got me snakes. So it took me weeks. I didn't do anything about it because I was like, oh my goodness, why do I do with this thing, right? So I just put it with this like a glass tank.
Right.
I think my setup was like really bad too, like in a super newbie, like no
Dude,
heat
yeah.
pad, no nothing.
Yeah, we were all there, man. We were all there
Right?
one time.
Yeah, exactly. And then somehow, some way, I started to play with these things. I was like, oh, this is actually pretty cool.
Right.
And then the weird thing is because before, I didn't know, or I had no clue if we could make these cool combos. I thought that if you see something different, I have to buy it.
Right. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
As
So I
opposed
started
to
with
the breeding
Bumblebee.
side.
Exactly. So once I found out if you can actually create something cool, I'll be like, okay, I like this thing now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then
yeah.
the rest is just
Infinite.
history. Yeah. So yeah,
So then
that's
now,
pretty.
now here you are. Now here you are
I
on
am.
a reptile live stream talking about snakes. Went from hating
know,
snakes to being
Obvious,
on a
out
live
of
stream.
control.
Yeah, and I remember walking around the first reptile show, seeing the kind of combos, and I had the same impression you did, Chris,
Right?
of like,
Yeah.
wow, to get that snake, I just need to buy it, right? Like, I didn't
Yes.
realize you took this, put it together, and you could get that. Like,
Exactly.
yeah, eye-opening once that was, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And
That's
that's it.
crazy.
Yeah.
That is an interesting subject that I feel like isn't thought about though. Is that first time going to that like reptile show for the first time and seeing all these snakes and like understanding that it's a super fire is a white snake. You need 2 fires for that and like stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing that also do is that I like to collect things. I don't know if you're familiar with like Jordan shoes, like Kobe's,
yeah.
LeBron. So like different colors, ways you have to buy them, right?
Right.
So I thought that's the same thing like ball python. So I was like, I want that colors. I'm gonna buy them. And then I think I talked to, I don't remember who I talked to, but he's like, you can actually make that. So I was like, what do you mean make that thing?
Right. What are you talking about right now?
Yes. Wait. So you can make that colorway? So I'm like, okay, cool. Then yeah.
And you can make things that have never been seen before, and you can make your own stuff, dude. That's the fun part of it.
That mindset, but yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Eye opener, man. I know it's that's such the like back in the day, it was kind of like that with corn snakes, and all that. And then I kind of fell out of the reptile hobby and wasn't really keeping up with it and just had no idea, ball pythons were doing the same thing. And even when I was learning about corn snakes, I didn't even realize a lot of that stuff was genetic. I just saw a lot of cool snakes out there that people were pumping out. Right. And once that key was unlocked, man, it just sent me down a super addictive path.
Yeah, you tell me.
dude. Yeah, I can get
so
crazy
let's see.
quick.
So how long have you been messing around with ball pythons? What time frame was that we were talking about there?
The first ball python was like right before the market crash. So it's probably like 07, 05 or 7 or something like that.
Okay.
And then I didn't really pursue it because I wasn't really like into it.
Right.
So I'm kind of like on and off. So just to make like good numbers, probably like on and off, maybe like 15 plus years. But I'm seriously like doing it as a full run. Well, not business, but like full run facilities and things like that. Exactly. Maybe like 10 plus years. So going 11 now.
Okay.
Yeah, 11 years, man. Yeah, you've been in it for a minute then.
Yeah, I'm still new.
Yeah,
Right.
That is new still, actually, for a lot of these guys out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, that's longer than I've been in. And when you look at some of these guys like Brian Gundy, I mean, Kevin from Nerd, obviously, those guys been messing around with the genetics of ball pythons for like, going on almost 30 years now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, most of them like 30 plus years, because they've been doing this for like their entire life.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. So 10 years sounds like a lot, but really that's just the infancy of, or, maybe like the adolescence. You've graduated from infancy into adolescence now. In the hobby,
in your junior year.
10 years, pretty much like 6, 7 projects. So it's not that long.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
If you look at it again.
Yeah,
It's
if you
true.
look at it in project terms, you're totally right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's an interesting thing I feel like to think about too is the time that it takes for some of these snakes to actually really get put out there, because I feel like we are in that social media area right now where you see a combo and you feel like there has to be like 40 of them available out there, and there really isn't for some of these snakes because it does take so long, especially with like the recessive stuff like that. I mean, you can be working a double, triple recessive project for 10 years before you hit everything.
Oh yeah. Easy
know?
10 years. Easy 10 years.
Yeah, and that's crazy, man.
Yeah.
That's such a weird thing to think about.
And really, it should be like that, right? Things shouldn't be rushed. Like, I mean, I remember when I first kind of got in the hobby, like serious, really looking at the genetics.
Mm-hmm.
People that were releasing a project, they would be posting in the forum saying, yeah, I've been working on this for, 9 years, 10 years. And these are the breedings that I've done to kind of prove what I've got. And it seems like a little of that has kind of been lost recently, where something weird pops out and then all of a sudden, they're selling a gene out there type of deal.
Yeah, instantly claimed as a new gene and a new blah, blah, blah. And it's You know, there's not enough work put into projects, I feel like, right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I cut
well,
out on
that's also kind of like, one of the reason why some of the project cost a lot of money because technically you're buying it into the time. Like have to consider like, to how much time that particular person actually put into the project.
Right, right.
Because a lot of
Absolutely.
people like the one that don't understand like why certain project costs like $25,000 because they do not know. It probably took that person at least minimum 5 to 6 years.
Right,
Right.
right. To get that
Easy,
up and
like
going.
really easy. Exactly.
Especially for recessive, if they started with just a male, or something like that, or the female, and then you have to wait 2 or 3 years to even get the female to size, and then breed it
Exactly.
back and all that
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. And then this is probably like one of like so many things that I don't really understand why in the hobby trying to bring down the other breeders, right? They talk smack about like a certain project or things like that because the way I look at it, right? So let's take examples, right? Like Adam, like Miguel's or like Will Morrow's, and then you guys working on with the puzzle project.
Right.
Right.
I do have the ingredients, I have the project, but I'm not really focused on it. So if I'm trying to bring down Adam, right, talk smack about him, and then let's say if he's not successful or he end up get out from the hobby, there goes the project.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So
Yeah,
it's my
you're losing
best
things.
interest. Exactly. So it's my best interest to at least for like common sense to support Adam and Miguel's and Will to do good with this puzzle project.
Right.
Because if they produce something cool, I'd be like, oh, you know what, Adam, I need that male, buddy.
Right.
You know what I mean? It
Right,
saved me
right.
like a minimum 4 years, 5 years. You have no idea how much money you're putting into like one project within couple years. There's
Absolutely.
a lot of money to put in it. The time, the energy, all the expenses.
Yeah.
That's expensive, man.
Paying attention.
Yeah, exactly.
Knowing your
And-
animals.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then when people buy into the project, they don't realize that they're actually buying a ticket to cut in line, right? To
Exactly.
save themselves.
You are. Yeah. You're
Yeah.
buying it. You're buying time.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. So kind of rewinding a little bit back,
Sure.
when you when you kind of got serious, right, and you were going to invest in your infrastructure and all that, what was the first project that you said, okay, I'm gonna plop some money down and go after this?
Oh, it was spider and pastel.
Okay. Because those were
Because
big
I
money
wanted to
back
create
then.
the bumblebee.
Right.
Yeah, I know. Every time some of the big breeders right now, if they're actually watching this, they be like, "Oh, you keep promoting this stupid spiders because I know you're a big fan of Calvin, blah blah blah." You know what I mean? Because I was so like intrigued about like, oh, so I can make that bumblebee, but the bumblebee that I had before was like super ugly, right? So I was like, let's make it cool. So yeah. So the problem was before, just like any other beginners, like I bought right away, male and then female, which is kind of a bad move. Well, not necessarily the bad move because if I didn't do that in a particular purchase, I would never know like, okay, now once I have everything ready to go, I don't need to buy the male right away.
Right.
I can just stuff with my females. I'm talking about if you study from zero, like no animals, no nothing, right?
Right.
Yeah. It's better off to stack with the females and then gradually grow them up like after a year or so, and then you purchase the male.
Yeah.
There's kind of
absolutely.
like the scenario how you can structure it like properly.
Yeah.
And then maybe we can discuss that like later because right now, I know a lot of people always say like, oh, if you knew, just buy female. If you knew, buy female. That's not necessarily the right way to start your collection because like one advice doesn't necessarily fit to anybody. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because so that's why every time people come to me like, hey dude, like I want to start, what should I do? The first thing that I ask is like, like what do you have?
Right. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What are you
If
starting with?
Exactly.
Right.
And then if you have like like zero animals and then like have nothing, I would rather that person to start with just a pair. Cheap one, don't have to be it doesn't have to be like really expensive one. Just like I don't know, like male clown to pastel or something like that.
Right.
Because
Right. Yeah.
I
A
want
het
them to
even.
learn. Exactly. I want them to learn like, okay, so it actually takes like more time to grow the females.
Yeah.
So once they
Exactly.
have that basic foundation of understanding how the structure works, they can go from there. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
True.
Because the
Yep.
problem with these big breeders is like their advice is always changed. If they have more females, they be like, oh, just buy females, dude, because you need more females. If they have more males, buy males because you can breed males to like 10 females, blah blah blah.
Right.
So
Right.
it's a bunch of crap. Yeah.
Yeah. There's always an angle, man. I agree. There is
You know
always
what
an
I
angle.
mean? So
Yeah.
yeah, like every shows that I go, people always, dude, I have like 10 females. What males should I get? Dude, you late. You already have 10 females ready to go. You just
Yeah. Yeah.
wasted your 2 years for nothing.
Right. Right. Yeah. You needed those males sooner. You
You
needed more
have
males.
nothing.
Right.
Exactly. And then so what happened was a lot of people, they buy like 20 females, right? No males, like zero males,
Right.
right? And then the next following season they buy the males and then they force feeding overfeed the males until it's it gets explode or something like that.
Right. 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 To try to
And
catch
then
the male up for all the females.
exactly, and
Yeah.
then it end up the male doesn't want to breed, and then
Right.
even though if they lock, they never get like really healthy clutch, right? So
Yeah.
so the argument right now is like, okay, so because people always say like on these forums like, oh dude, I can raise the male like within 90 days.
Right.
It's it's actually true, but my question is like, that person never follow up what happened with the male.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Can
How
he
did that
breed?
end up?
Can he produce good healthy clutches?
Right.
He
Consistent
never
too.
follow up. He just like gone. So
Yeah.
just say like, hey, I can do this like 90. I mean I can raise all my males for like 60 days if I wanted to.
Right. Right.
But the problem is, can he produce a good clutches? That's the thing that you want to kind of like consider,
Right. Right. Yeah. And that's
especially like high-end
funny.
males too, huh?
It's funny you say that because I sort of ran into a similar problem with that. With last season, it seemed like I had
Uh-huh.
more of a problem with maturity in my males than I did
Mm-hmm.
maturity in females. And I
Yeah.
missed out on some stuff because of the males. And everybody is preaching, oh, you can get a male ready to go in 6 months and he'll be ready to go. Well, it doesn't always work out like that. That takes time for males and females at that matter.
Yeah. 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 So
Yeah.
I think it's always best to I'm talking about like new. If you have nothing, start with small, and then you can go to like really good good breeders like Chanku or something like that. Dynasty Reptiles.
Yeah.
Yep.
They have a really
Yeah,
well.
Bob.
He's a really good guy, and he has a really affordable like animals. You start from there, and then you don't need like $100,000 just to start.
Right.
You can
Right.
start from like $500, dude. Well, to be honest with you, if I don't have anything right now, but knowing what I know right now, I can start from like $500.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure. Especially today's age. There are
Easy.
so many genes available for a very affordable rate, right? And and also like I love that advice, right? Of starting out small, because we see it all the time. It's really easy to get excited. And I mean, since we typically keep these in bins, right? It's easy to have a lot of them in a relatively small space. And I see people just running out, scooping up anything and everything they possibly can. And all of a sudden they've got 30, 40 animals. Well, unless you've kind of eased yourself into that, the time that it takes to take care of those animals I don't think a lot of people are prepared for what type of time suck it is, right?
Right.
And then you end up seeing people retreat back and being like, oh, I don't want to mess with this at all, rather than starting slow, figuring it out, acquiring the right animals. Yeah, great advice, man.
That's also the one that you just said, Adam. That's actually very good, and then that's one of the reason why I don't want to say the market gonna crash or like certain project gonna crash because that, people overspend. They cannot, because I know a lot of people that spent like 180,000 last year.
Right. Yeah.
And then just to keep out with these big breeders because they want to make the name from for themselves and things like that. And then now they're kind of like feeling it like how expensive it is to maintain those
That
type of
many
animals.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So what happened was these people they maxed out a lot of credit cards. They take loans out of their homes, so things like that. So what happened was they forced all of these animals to grow like much faster, right? And then they breed them and they dump all the price because they need to cover all their expenses.
Yeah, right now.
That's a problem. And then like when I get into like a certain project or like new project that not many people know, I always ask like who's in it?
Yes.
Who's behind it? Who's working on it? Who's buying it? And then I have this what's the best way to say it in a polite way?
Man, just say it.
Market, crash people, whatever, right?
Right.
Yeah, so you've got a blacklist.
Exactly. If anything check mark, I'm out. I'm like, nah. I'm probably just gonna get like the hat or the female if I really desperately like wanted to, or I'm just like patiently wait until it crashed. Then I'm gonna buying it.
Man, I love that piece of advice so much, and I don't think that's ever been talked about on our channel. It is that right there. The who is in this new project? If there's certain people that are in that new project, even people that have the capability of mass producing that project next year, dude, it's not worth it. It's just not worth it. Yeah. That's interesting. I like that.
It's kind of like professional sport teams, right? Like, you know what I mean?
Very true. That's very true. Yeah.
And so whoever's traded over here, over there, or got a piece of this, that, well, hey, you got to watch out for the whole picture. That's really great advice, man. So how does somebody go about kind of finding out who's in the project, right? Because I know that can be a touchy subject, right?
Yeah. It takes times and then it takes experience because you have to go through like the whole cycles, right? You have to fail first in order for you to learn.
Very true. Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm not trying to scare people or, kind of like, have people not to get into or jump into like a certain project. I'm not saying that. But okay, so this is a good discussion to actually talk about. I always say to people like if you want to start, right, I have this stupid formula that I do like 30% like 333, meaning so let's say if you have $1,000, right, just a really easy number, right?
Right.
So you have $300 to acquire the animals, $300 to maintain it, and then $300 just in case if something happened with your project.
Right.
So I always split like 1/3 of anything. So let's say if you have $10,000 to start, you only able to spend $3,000 because a lot of people they max it out like 15,000 probably.
Right.
Because you have to maintain it your collection and then just in case. So let's say if you produce something cool and then some douchebag crash the market, right? You have the time to keep your collection. You don't have to release it like right at the same time with these people. You can keep them.
Right.
But in order to keep them, you have to maintain them, right? You have to feed them. You have to do all the expensive things like that, right? And then the last 1/3 is just in case something happens. Let's say if you're very expensive male, let's knock on wood, sick.
Right.
Right.
You have to have that, like kind of like rainy day saving.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
that's a setback, right? You have to kind of like, holding back until this, you weather all of this storm pretty much.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're
So
you're
if you
trying
do
to
it,
tell me you need to be prepared for life's twists and turns when you're getting into this hobby?
it sounds like really stupid, but that's how I structure it. So that I don't really care what happened up there because, like I have a certain project that I just sold this year, this summers and then last December's 3 times from whatever people been selling on the
Right.
Morph Mart. I'm talking about 3 times
Right. 3 times higher?
higher.
Yeah.
People like, how did you sell that? Because what happened right now is this is kind of like sad, but like we hang out, right? We spend a lot of time together sometimes, like with a lot of friends, and then all of these people
Right.
at the shows. We go to the, drink or things like that. But
Yeah.
like people backstabbing, cutting throat left and right, and
Absolutely.
then like the majority of people don't really see it because it's kind of like happening behind the screen. You know what
It
I mean?
is. It
Right.
is.
Yep.
So for me, I like to kind of like remain like neutral. I mean, I'm friend with everybody. I'm even treat people that want me to fail, like for the last 8 years, still
Yeah.
like nice,
Naturally.
because
Yeah.
I don't want to kind of like jeopardize, because I know a lot of people doing this as a full time. I don't want to jeopardize their income just because I want to make $300. Doesn't make sense to me.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, there's more to take into account than just
Exactly.
getting rid of your snakes.
Exactly, because I don't want people to be like, dude, like, so I don't want to compete with them. Can I compete with them? I could. I mean, I could be like, like going crazy, just cut all my prices like half if I wanted to.
Right. Yeah, because I mean, in the
Easy.
end, if you're
Yeah.
producing the snakes, you can kind
Yeah.
of do whatever you want because they were free, let's say in quotes, to you.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And then I know this is not like my like main source of income, but I treat it as a like full run small business technically, because I have employees, I have like expenses or things like that.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, it's not worth it for me to to make money, but I lose the friendship
Yep.
over like $200. Jesus Christ,
Right.
dude. So it doesn't make sense. So that's probably one of the reasons I like to just to do my own thing, like my own project. I never follow the hype. I don't care what's going on right there. Yeah, like any project. So that's why I like to kind of focus on like certain project, all of this import, because no one else have it.
Right.
I can't dictate my price. I don't want have this random Joblo nonsense. Just like, hey, I'm gonna sell it for half the price right now. Well, go ahead. You don't have the ingredient that I have.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so you can't do it.
That's
The
it.
exclusivity, right? And that goes back
Yeah.
to your advice earlier of knowing who's in the project when you make your purchases.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yep.
absolutely. Okay.
And we all know you got some secret hidden weapons in those
Right,
racks.
right.
We've
And
seen
so
glimpses of them.
Chad has been kind
Right.
of hitting us on the Enzo gene.
Mm.
And I feel like this would be a decent time to kind of segue into the ingredient side of things with
Sure. Yeah. And then to kind of like running back to what we discussed before. Okay, so I keep calling this the 1% and the 99%, which is the majority of the hobby, right?
Right.
So people don't understand like this 1%. They not watching you. That's like really creepy. But they kind of like keep an eye on the market on what's going on.
Yes. Yeah. Right.
You know what I mean? Okay. So when they see you keep cutting the price, they be like, okay, this Joblo, he gonna keep crashing the market. But if they see you really stick with the project, they say whatever that you actually say to them, they trust you, right?
Right.
In return, they usually call me like, hey, I have this something cool. Do you want to work on it?
Right.
Because they
Right.
know I'm not gonna jeopardize the project.
Yes.
And then it takes time to build this type of kind of like relationship. It took me like forever. So
Yeah.
okay, long story short, this Enzo is actually a good friend of mine. He got this group of import. Okay, this is another thing too. When I say import, meaning it came from Africa to here, not from Petco or from other pet shop here, because a lot of people easily to labels their they're like normal dinkers, whatever, import.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's not true at all. So so he got this like a group of animals, and then the original mom looks exactly like the original Enzo. So he didn't really have good luck for the project. So what happened was he got the mom, and then he produced two of the male.
Okay.
And then he called me like, hey, I have these pretty cool things. Do you want to look at it? So he sent me the pictures. I was like, okay, I like that one. Can I have it? And then so he spared me the males. You know how hard it is to get a male from a new project? It's almost impossible. People
Oh
do not
gosh.
want to
Yeah,
Yeah.
I,
give it to you
I wouldn't
because-
release one. I
No.
would
Oh my
not
goodness,
release
yeah.
one.
because it's really easy to release the mail. Once you release the mail, you don't have any control, of the project. So from there, yeah. And then I'm kind of like, I'm looking at the, characteristic of the, like the animals, and then I know there's a lot of potential. So what happened was, I just, tried to, breed that male to like orange dream, and then yellow belly, and then one of my lemon line, and then fire, so things like that. And then I hatch out all of these crazy things.
Right.
I didn't really talk about it before because I wanted to make sure if I know like what's going on, like how the gene works, how the potential it is, and things like that. And this is another thing too. If you have, like something new, you cannot just breed it to, like pastel, like ugly brown pastels, and then label it, I want this $5,000. It doesn't work that way. It takes time to
right.
develop because because you're building up the value, right? Like right now, what I'm working on right now is building up the value. Can I sell it for like $1,000 or $2,000 easy? Yeah, I could right now, but I don't want it because what happened was if I build it up the value low enough, the project is never gonna be last that long.
Right.
Especially once I release the mail, just think about it. You cut half of the value like right away. Especially if you release the mail to the wrong person.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
that's-
from there,
Yeah, you gotta have that. You gotta have strategy too when you're managing the project yourself.
yeah. Now that I have a really good kind of like understanding how the gene works, and then how it does, how the potential, people kind of like interested with it because I didn't, I don't really sell them or post it online. I just put it like on the Instagram or things like that, and then I already have like a few people that interested in the project.
Right.
But I'm still kind of like want to wait until I produce the clone version, the pied version,
Okay.
and then decide whether if I want to release the project or not from
Right.
there.
So like in like 30 years, we may see
Oh,
something.
no.
Yeah, after you have an Enzo Batman, and after you have, and so okay, so Enzo is a co-dom or dominant or recessive? What are we
It's
looking at?
a dominant right now,
Okay.
and then potentially it could be there's a super version. Just looking at it, I mean, I
Okay.
look at all of these ball python like at least once every other week probably because people keep saying like, hey, do you like this? Do you like that? So
Right.
I mean, you get used to it sometimes. You kind of
Yeah.
like. Like no, like it could be, it has like potential. It could be, recessive or not. I mean, again, everything is theory until you prove it out to be, the right thing.
Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go. There you
Yeah.
go.
Dang, and I had a good question.
Yeah.
I forgot it.
Did you lose it? You lost your
I
question,
did,
dude. I
man. It
felt
was
like it
such
was
a
going to
good
be
one.
a good one. I
It
really-
was a good one. It was
Dude,
a
I was
good
waiting for it.
Son
I was
Yeah.
absolutely waiting for it.
Oh, okay. No, I got
Definitely
it. I got it.
forget
back.
Okay, you
I
got it. You
back.
got it. Okay.
All right,
Okay.
all right.
Let's hear it.
So-
Let's hear it.
All right. So Joel asked Chris. He asked you, Chris, like if it's incomplete dominant, or recessive, right? And you said
Yeah.
right now it's dominant.
Yeah.
I'm sure we have some audiences that are here that want to know why, right? Like explain that genetically wise, why you're calling it a dominant right now.
Dominant because you can actually reproduce it like right away, and then 50% of the clutch you can see it like right away.
Right. And there's no super yet, right?
Like,
not yet. Yeah,
Right.
but looking at the kind of like the characteristic and then like the way it looks and things like that, potentially it has the super.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So kind of boiling it down a little, more, simpler. So let's use the pastel, like the most like basic gene we have, right? Everybody knows that's incomplete dominant because the single copy of that gene we call pastel. Then if we add two pastels together, we get the super, which is the homozygous version of pastel, right?
Yeah.
So then when we enter into the realm of dominant genes, a lot of breeders initially will call their project a dominant gene when they haven't proved out the super yet, right?
Yeah.
Right. Because the way that the Punnett square works with a dominant gene, we'll be producing about 50%, blah, 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 right?
Right.
And then we know it's not recessive because you produced visual examples right away.
Yeah, so technically you replicate the male right away, right on the first clutch.
Right on first clutch, right.
Yeah.
So we've eliminated recessive now from the equation.
Exactly.
Right.
Yep. Yeah, Servantech, no visual super equals a dominant.
Right.
Yes,
basically.
that's right.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, sometimes, I don't know. I like talking that stuff through.
Absolutely.
I think, yeah.
Absolutely.
That's fine.
That's a common thing though that gets thrown around a lot, and it's weird. I've had a couple people I've talked to recently. I actually sold a couple of snakes. It was their very first snakes, right? And so here I was saying like the carriers and the recessives and the and it was like their first time hearing all that. So it is a topic to definitely like break down just a little bit.
Yeah.
Majority obviously know what we're talking about that are watching this right now, but still something cool.
I think the easy way, for those like really new, and then they kind of get confused. So dominant meaning when you see the same snake when you breed it replicate itself, that's dominant.
Right.
And then if you breed the sibling to sibling, like the same looking animals from the dad, and then you make something new, that's actually super version. So we call it incomplete, dominant.
Yeah, and then the other one, like Cusco just said, is complete dominant.
Yeah, and then if it is recessive, meaning when you breed it, like my marshmallow project, it's a recessive, like right off the bat already knew if it is going to be recessive. And then you don't get the visual right off the bat. So what you're going to get is just like bunch of these normal looking cool, animals.
All the fun stuff.
All the fun stuff. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so like for some people, like Pinstripe is a really good example of a complete dominant gene that we have out in the hobby right now. There hasn't been any consistently proven data to show that we have a super pinstripe, right? So everybody's in pretty much agreement that
Well, a pinstripe and then spiders, I mean, in my opinion, it's a dominant. But Kevin said there's a super spider. I do not know.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I think spider actually is incomplete dominant, but the complete dominant or the homozygous version of spider produces a deadly. It's a lethal combo, right? The snake doesn't survive.
Yeah.
Right. So it's hard to say because he did produce the pearl, right? Which is the super spider.
Yeah.
Which was almost an all-white snake, I think.
It's like really little, like going around like crazy.
Oh man, the wobble
never survived. I
think the longest one he got to survive was maybe a couple days out of the egg.
I think it's like 10 days.
Yeah, man, and that was it. Right.
Yeah. So that's my question. I mean, if you cannot breed spider to spider, like how could you say that if it is,
incomplete dominant or complete dominant?
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. It is hard. I mean, that's kind of one of the gray areas.
Well, he's my hero, so I cannot really argue with him.
No, no. Well, and I mean, I think that his
know what I
line
mean?
of thinking is correct, right? You know.
Yeah.
So
It's
Whatever you
technically
say, I'm just
right.
like, yeah, that's true. Okay. Yeah.
Just because it's lethal doesn't mean it's not right. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Well,
true, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because if it is lethals, right? So in order to actually proving out if it is, there's a incomplete dominance or there's a super, you have to breed it, and then you have to keep the super alive more than 10
Right.
days, and then breed it.
Exactly.
Then if
Right.
you
Yeah,
have
more
all
than
the
10
spiders,
days.
then okay, fine, you're right this time. You know what I mean?
That's
For
the
sure.
rule. Okay, you've heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. That is the rule.
Has survived longer than 10 days.
And then
Bam.
you can call it whatever you want.
Yeah. He's gonna ban me for life now. He's like, no more talking to me now.
Right. And then Will Philippic, he pointed out something kind of cool with allelic genes, right?
Yeah.
So if it's allelic to something, then that means that it's in complete dominant as well, right? Because it has a pair on the same allele that can produce a homozygous form of itself, right? Like you know what I mean? Like
Highways.
basically. What's that?
Like the highways and the
highways, great
freeways,
example,
stuff
right?
like that.
Yeah, gravel to yellow, stuff like that.
Yeah, allelic is just like it has a different look, but it's actually the gene works the same way.
Right.
Okay. I mean, just to make it really simple, because I don't want people to get really confused with all of these terms.
Yeah, sorry, we did geek out for a little bit. So.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, there was a little bit of that. We had kind of a unique question that I feel like sort of touches on the base of projects and like with the Enzo project and stuff like that. How do you think, or what would be your best way for prolonging the proficiency of the project? Like, how do you make sure when you have that Enzo project that it's going to retain its value for the next, let's say, 5-10 years?
First, release the females only.
Okay.
And then release the male, double the price to your good friends, but triple the price on those people on my blacklist.
Right.
That's true.
Right.
I'm not even joking.
That. Yeah,
That's
I like that a lot. No, it makes sense though. It makes sense.
Because people don't understand, like some people, like some breeders, they save money to get into a project. So for me to release and then not being responsible when I have like a new project and then crash it the next year or so, it's really selfish of me.
Right.
Because those people that get into the project who actually save like for months or years, they want to make their money back too.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. Would you ever consider making first like initial clients of a new project sign a contract? Would you ever consider that maybe, or?
Yeah, the problem with this, it's like really weird. Like I have a lot of hobbies, right? And then reptiles hobby is probably like one of the most interesting one to deal with,
right?
Because like the people in it. I'm not trying to be like really judgmental or anything, but like they don't have this, like. What is
legitimacy?
The best way? In a way, you know what I mean? Because they can sign, they can chop their thumbs and give it to you. They're still gonna do whatever they're gonna do.
Yeah, yeah.
At the end of the day, if you want to pursue it like a lawsuit or things like that, you end up wasting a lot of money. Then
it's money.
Whatever, and then you end up just making more drama, more enemies, more whatever, So the point being is, once you release the project, you have no control out of it.
Right. Yeah.
That's why you have to kind of like structure it like properly, because like whoever like at least the first 3 or 5 investors that get into the project with you, right?
Right.
You need to take care of them because they want their money back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. I mean, can you screw them off? Yeah, you could. But the problem is, the thing is, they will never invest with you anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you want to build like long-term relationship, right? Because you come out with a new project or new combos maybe that not many people have, so they have that confidence to invest with you.
Right. Yeah, for sure, man.
So
Yeah, like Heather just posted in the chat. Bottom line, trust who you get into projects with. And yeah, that carries through.
Oh, big time. Yeah.
Yeah, big time, big time. Goodness, this is probably one of the more lively chats that we've had to.
Oh, really? How do you get see
man.
the chat? I cannot see anything from here.
That's good.
on
We don't
purpose.
want you to see it. All right. We don't want you to see it.
Damn it.
I do. I kind of want to bring something up that I feel like kind of needs to be brought up, and we were speaking about that earlier, and it's actually been brought up in chat a couple of times. Is the red ball? Since we're talking about integrity and
oh my goodness,
doing the right thing. What is your take on this red ball scandal?
Oh my God. Where should I start?
Well, I think we should tell some people that aren't familiar with the red ball what it was, and start from there.
So
and then
these red ball fairy tales, right? Technically, it's a black ball, which is a black. It looks like a super black hat.
Right.
And then
very melanistic animal, right? Very
exactly.
dark.
Yeah. In the wildest dream of this fairy tale, in theory, if you breed that black ball to albino, you make this red ball. It looks like a sunset on steroid.
Yeah, it looks like a cherry. Like it's so red. Yeah,
it's so red. Yeah. So if you ever seen that the albino eye, like those people.
Yeah.
That color.
Yeah.
Like
that's a cool description of it. I like that.
Yeah. It's like that
if no
ruby
one ever
red.
Seen it. Yeah. So what happened was I got this text from my UK friend, and then a week later, one of my brokers there also texted me this picture, like, "Hey, dude, you're not gonna believe this. Like, do you want to see it?" So I'm like, "Yeah." So I saw this Red Bull. So just like, and then on that time there was no video, by the way, because of this Uzbek, from Poland, kind of like doesn't know like what he's doing or something like that.
Yeah.
So he just Red Bulls. I was like, "What is that?" And then there's no answers, and I was like, "Oh, okay, maybe just one day wonders, right?"
Right.
And then a year later, and this is back in like, when was this? Like 14, like
2014, 15. Yeah. I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, I got the picture like late 13, I think.
Yeah.
Right.
So I contact bunch of like friends there, like, "Hey, is this thing real? I mean, have you seen it in ham or things like that, right? Because I want to buy it."
Right. Yeah. So, who wouldn't?
Yeah. And then so and then a friend of mine was like, "Oh, instead of buying the visual, because the visual was I think it was offered at first like 250,000."
Yeah. Crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. And then so I was like, I mean, I still want it, but so a friend of mine, "Why don't you just get the double hat?" So I was like, "Oh, that's actually much better because it saved me time to bring to double hat, whatever like that, right? Because I can like create the visual right away."
Right.
So the price tag back then was like, I think it was like 150, like 125 or something like that.
For the double hats?
Yeah, for a double hat.
Okay.
Well, it's normal technically.
Right. Yeah, but
we just call it they just call it like normal. But the problem is like this, right? Because the guy never showed up because I'm talking about a lot of big breeders like asking him to come to ham
to show the visual. Right.
Yeah, I mean, sure. I mean, I get it. Sometimes, like people do not want to, have some strangers, like come visit their facility. I get it.
Right.
I totally understand. But when you're talking about like big money, like at least go to the show and then bring your damn animals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, if I'm ever
we just want to see if it is live or not. Yeah.
Yeah, selling $100,000 snake, anybody's allowed to come see my snakes. Anybody.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I have like few friends actually working on it. Like, "Hey, I think this is not really right or things like that because the guy always flaking out. They never showed up, and then a friend of mine actually bring a duffel bag. I'm talking about duffel bag full of money just ready to go. The guy never showed up. dude, if I have someone, like have like 150,000, like ready want to buy any of my project, I will fly all the way, no matter where I am.
Yep, guaranteed. Yeah, I'll
For
fly anywhere for that.
100K, I'll
Yeah.
I'll book a 5
You know what I
grand.
mean? Like double
Yeah.
back, 100K.
Yeah.
I cancel my meetings. I'm just gonna go, fly back to meet the, you know what I
Right.
mean? Yeah. So the guy never showed up. Always have excuse like, oh, like he's not feeling well, something like that. My family issues, emergency, always nonsense. So long story short, like a year or so passed by, right? And then I've heard, like one breeder here in US have the double hat.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, so who has them? And then, I'm digging around and then asking left and right, and then this guy, technically quote unquote, has them.
Right.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I asked around like, hey, have you bought? And then 3 of my breeder friends actually bought directly from him.
Okay.
So I asked him like, dude, let's do this then.
Right.
Whatever you invest on those double hat, if you create the visual, I pay you double.
Right.
Because
Yeah, show me the visual.
Exactly, because I don't really feel comfortable dealing with the particular person, but I trust my friend.
Right.
And then to make it fair, because they already put into the project all the work, like whatever you put it in, I'll pay you like whatever you want, but give me the visual. But they never prove anything, and then
they never showed up. Yeah,
never showed up. They never clutched. And then the thing is, like these normals, right? I mean, the guy is like really stupid because if it is albino and black balls, right? Technically 2 recessive, right? Double recessive, right? If he smart, the problem with these bad people is they're not really that smart, to be honest with you.
Yeah, right.
If he just sold, like had albino or something like that, and then you produce albino, people at least has the project probably real.
Right. And I didn't hit the odds or something.
Like,
right.
Oh, just bunch of normals, not even anything darker, forever like that. So this is the good thing when you have a lot of good friends. They try to kind of like give you the advice like, dude, just don't invest in it. I think it's a scam. Yeah. And then long story short, few years went by, right? And then I think the last time we saw another post from this random Europe guy, right, that want to sell the DM double hat again on Facebook. Yeah, that's the same guy. I think it's the same person, but with different name. I think I can be wrong. I do not know.
Right.
But yeah. So my, just to make it like very short, if you see anybody want to sell double hat or things like that, run away far, like run really fast.
Yeah, run away, right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's no such thing as double hat. I mean, it's unfortunately because if it is a real thing, that's probably the next big hit.
Oh, 100%, man. I mean, the coloring on that, wow, just amazing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, there goes Sunset, because Sunset's our closest thing right now.
Yeah. You can actually make Sunset similars like that. I'm working on it right now.
Absolutely. I know it. I know you are. That's the thing. I can't wait. And it's just silly. And I'm already annoyed about it. Because I know it's going to be so awesome.
Yeah. So before I forget that, the problem is like this, right? That particular person, he already knows if this nonsense project doesn't exist.
Right.
My point is, why keep selling them?
Right. Yeah. Why are you still selling these double hats and stuff like that when you know it's false?
Exactly. I mean, I get it. If you just got the shipment coming in, right? Boom, right?
Right.
He has no idea. Like everybody, like anyone else, that's probably okay, right?
Yeah.
But now that you already know, like left and right, and then one of the breeders actually trying to file a lawsuit against him. Mm-hmm. But it's just chaos. So my point is like you already knew like what's going on. Like why keep selling them?
I know why keep. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's obviously short-sightedness, right? Like it's an immediate focus on that sell. That's it. There's no concern of anything else, right?
Yeah.
Not reputation, not anything, right? I mean, so it's kind of sad that you know, we have a pure example of greed coming to the forefront, right? And just like you know, KB's An Amazing House had said earlier, it was perfectly timed. You know, you can't even deny the guy was crafty, right?
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
I
he
mean,
scammed everybody.
dude, like, so you know, we give him credit on that side, but equal side, you're a douchebag, right?
Yeah,
Like, so we all get it, right?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. The guy make a lot of money, at least like 750,000 at least US dollar at least.
Yeah.
That's
oh,
crazy, man. I can't.
Yes,
I would be afraid for my life if I scammed people out of that much money. You know, like that's crazy amount of money, dude. People get wild for that.
Yeah. So, you know, bottom line.
Industry is small and then people know people. So yeah, I'm
Right.
sorry, Adam.
Oh, no. I was just I was going to kind of shifting us out of the red ball, but I was going to say bottom line, you know, buyer beware, be careful who you're interacting with. If you need opinions, don't be afraid to reach out to people and ask them if they've ever done business, things like that, right?
Yeah.
Ask for references.
Yeah,
You're not buying a snake, man. You're buying the breeder. You're buying the integrity of the person. You're buying, you know, and it's all that stuff. Like when you see that $20 snake that's usually $150, well, is it really worth it? You know, stuff like that.
Well, right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
And then another thing is also that some people sometimes afraid to ask because they don't want to be labeled stupid, you know.
Right.
Just ask whatever you want. I mean, like me personally, okay, I'm gonna tell you guys the truth, right? Like a couple of years back, I asked Justin, stupid question, like, can Batman replicate itself? That's a stupid question for some people.
Right.
I want to know if you can actually make Batman if you know, a breeding, you know, like, and then the answer is yes, you can actually make Batman like right away.
Right, from a Batman, right.
Yeah. So it's like Bumblebee, so you can produce Bumblebee right away. Because I thought it was like leopard and a spot nose, like, you know, separate, right?
Right.
That's a stupid question, but I asked him. I don't care if he thinks I'm stupid. I don't care. I just ask.
Right.
Well, right.
Because now you know.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Now you know. And then now with that knowledge, you know, you took it the next step, right? Like this is the thing, right? It's never dumb to ask a question. Ask whatever question it is. If it's going to help you feel more comfortable about, you know, getting in or doing whatever you're doing. But, you know, you need to learn from it, right? And so this is kind of what I always try and like tell people, like, research is your most valuable source of information because you're the one providing it and retaining it, right? Like when you're going through all the steps. If somebody is just feeding you stuff, a lot of times you don't retain it the same way, right? So retaining and then applying in real world helps you kind of form that memory block, right? That lasts forever. So that's an important part.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because you know, like most people, they always claim they've been doing this for like 30 years and then 25 years, and then they're like 21 years old.
Right.
And then you know, if you're coming out, you know, like really cocky that way, right? It's really hard to learn because, you know, like if you ask stupid question, well, not stupid question, like any question, people will be like, I thought you've been doing this for 30 years. Like, why you keep asking these basic questions? You know what I mean? If you come out, just, you know, come out like, hey, I'm new. This is my first ball python. I think people more, you know, will like you that way instead of like being, oh, I've been doing this like 50 years. I mean, dude, just forget about it.
Dude,
right.
Yeah, I like that.
And there's nothing wrong with being newer in the hobby, right? Like, I mean, dude, I fully admit I'm a noob, right? And I would rather view me as that, so that way I can ask questions, get information. You know what I mean? I'm not an expert. I'm happy to share my experiences with you, what's worked, what hasn't. But you know, beyond that, like, don't think that I'm some like super expert into this stuff. I'm still learning also, right? And I'm
me too. Yeah, you know, learning every day. Yep,
every day, right? You know,
right,
man. We have had so many questions covered, like so many good questions.
We've had some good ones.
Chris, I know when we initially spoke, we were talking about an hour, but we've got so much going on, so many people here. Are you down to stay a little bit longer? And
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. So I think it would be a good time to maybe jump into chat since we have, like, we've had like Reggie just asked a great question from Reggie's Urban Jungle just now.
Oh, Reggie, what's up, Reggie? Yeah.
So, you want to jump into some chat, I guess?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. We can go over like the question if you want. I can go over it like really fast if you guys want to.
Right. Okay.
I just don't want to,
Reggie's-
get like really boring so things like that. But yeah.
Reggie's Urban Jungle. We'll jump into that right now. When buying into a recessive project, should you buy a visual female or multiple het females?
It depends on what your budget is.
Right. Okay.
And
So
then what you want to do with it. So
if
let's
budget
put like
wasn't
really
an
simple,
issue.
right? Yeah. So so the first thing that you wanna kind of like compare. When I say budget, meanings like will it affect your daily life technically? If you have to like scrambles or whatever like that, if you have to like over leverage yourself, then don't do it. Just go with the multiple hats.
Right. So here would be a rephrase of the question maybe.
Okay.
Would it be better to buy one visual female or two het females?
Oh, two genes like het females?
Yeah, just two separate, like a visual female of the recessive. You can afford that, or you can afford two separate het females.
It depends on what you want to do. If you focus on that particular project, let's say like Adam, right? He said to him like just buy the visual puzzle male, female, sorry.
Right.
But if it is just like some kind of like project on the side that you want to start working on, then get like multiple genes, het female.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I like that.
I like that too. Yeah, that's good advice.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I like that. I'm taking notes myself tonight. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting learnt right now. Getting learnt on Reptiles Unplugged.
No. The cool word now is woke. You're
woke.
Getting
woke. Dude.
Oh, getting woke.
Yeah.
Getting
woke
hashtag me too.
I don't know. Somebody younger than me, please confirm in chat if that was cool or if I completely misused it. It's totally fine.
I wouldn't say I'm tremendously younger, but I don't think it was cool, probably.
Oh my gosh. Joel.
But I might not be cool for saying that, so what do I do?
Oh man, Mrs. Beachbum has been diligently posting questions in Hangouts here for me. I am scrolling back up because we've got a bunch that popped in. Let's see.
How do you see the question? I don't see anything here.
Dude, don't worry about where the magic happens. Right? We got you.
I need to learn about this YouTube stuff.
No, if you bring up a YouTube browser on your computer or on your phone, just make sure that you...
So I have screen right here, and then it's actually streaming the YouTube live right now, right? I don't know if you can.
You have to click live chat.
Oh, okay.
No, it's up on his TV. He's cool and he has it.
So if it's on your TV, you can't see it. You have to have it on your computer or your phone. Sorry, dude. Right. Sorry. All right. We work with phone screens around here, okay?
Flip phone and stuff.
Okay, Adam, hit us hard. Here.
Okay. All right, so let's see. I'm kind of filtering too right now.
Oh my God, there's a lot of them.
Oh yeah, so many, right? So we've got several questions around kind of imports and your thoughts on imports, like African imports and all that type of stuff. So like quick 30-second deal around that.
Getting the actual imported legit animals is really hard right now.
Right.
To be honest with you, you have to know like all the key players, and then they do not want to deal with people they do not know. Number one, because they keep offering you things, and then if you don't buy them, they stop offering you things.
Right. So
and
you
then
consistently be buying.
Exactly, because it's just wasting their times. And then on top of that, so what happened is they become really smart right now, because before, when they found like a new animals, they sell that particular animals. Right now, what happened is because they get really smart, they know there's money in it, there's value in it.
Right.
They breed themselves, so they sell the offspring.
Right.
That's what happened when you see like this like a certain morph with different names, because when they import, let's say, to Asia, to UK, to Australia, things like that, even though the same freaking thing, but they have a different names, right? That's what happened.
I love that's interesting, because I had seen the question pop up too with multiple genes, same names. So I mean, I feel like that kind of
like
pokes at that.
like I'm gonna get railed because I'm saying this, but like DM tri-stripe and D-stripe, they're the same freaking thing.
Right. Yeah,
and then
there's
a
banana, coral glow.
Yeah. Well, for the coral glow and then banana is actually I should probably never say this, but it's actually shipped to US. It's just a different name.
Right.
So it's not from a different continent.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
It's an interesting thing though, but it's a difficult route though, because what does somebody do in that situation where they have been misinformed? Like this is an imported snake, but in reality, at the start of it, things have changed now. Like you said, they're starting to breed. They're starting to.
I mean, when it comes to like import and then all of these nonsense drama or things like that, there's no right or wrong, to be honest with you guys. And then it's a matter of relationship too.
Right.
You know what I mean? So let's say if because I'm just like take a good examples. Like I'm a big fan of Kevin. So when we're talking about like coral glow and banana, obviously I'm gonna buy.
What was that? I mean? Sorry, we lost you real quick.
Oh, so it's like that. Coral glow and then the banana, right?
Right.
Can you hear me or no?
Yeah, we can hear you.
And then because I'm buying it from Kevin, then obviously I'm gonna name it, coral glow, because I'm getting it from him.
Right.
You know what I mean? Even though they are the same thing.
Right. Yeah. And,
so
and
it's based on like your relationship with your customers, with your your community or whatever like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's why a lot of those names stick, even though they may or may not be the same exact gene.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. All right, so kind of switching gears into some of the breeding aspects and stuff like that. People wanted to know kind of your recipe. When do you start breeding? Do you breed year round? Would be my add into that.
Yeah, I breed all year around. There's no such thing as like you have to breed your your breeding pairs like a certain period of time. Here's the problem too, because sometimes like misinformation create a lot of issues, right? Like there's no right or wrong, to be honest with you. Because I'm thinking about this way, right? If you breed like all year long, because not all the females will be ready like by their times, right?
Right.
So the female will dictate whether they want to go or not. So it will be foolish of you to wait until, let's say, Thanksgiving. Yeah. And then if the female's ready, like, by the summer, then why wait it? And then you end up, having them, reabsorb all of the follicles.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense. And then even like within that, the whole, rec system, right? Let's say if you have like 30 tops, right? Not all the females ready to go, some like ready to go, maybe half of them just like not there just yet.
Right.
So I don't really drop the temperature. Everything stay the same all year long. And then if I see the females kind of like ready to go, and then the male, already create that sperm block, I pair. Yeah. There's no secret or there's no nothing. Just pair them. Just open the top and then put it back.
Do you use an ultrasound? Are you palpating?
I do.
You do?
Okay, this is another thing too, that you don't need ultrasound to be successful in this hobby, because I know for some people it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
For me, the reason I use ultrasound is because I don't want to exhaust the male, because I only want to pair the males when the female is ready. That way, he doesn't have to like waste it all the sperm. Because some of the high-end ones, every drop of it's really expensive.
Yes, absolutely. And males can get burned out quickly.
Oh yeah, they can actually die.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, from overbreeding for sure.
Yeah.
I know the general rule of thumb that I've heard from breeders that are much more experienced than I, but basically at the point that the male stops eating, right, in the breeding season, you have about 10 more pairings. And then you need to give your male kind of a break, or you risk either producing kind of lot of slug clutches or even killing the male. I don't know. So.
Yeah. The way I look at it is like the first time male, I usually only breed him to like 2 female.
Okay.
Similar size or close to his size. So let's say if he's like 500 gram, I would never pair him to like 3,000 gram female.
Right. Okay.
Because the male gonna freak out and they end up becoming gay. Pretty much.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. Get scared.
Yeah. Exactly. It just, I mean, if people don't understand like what's going on, it just think about like like we are back in like junior high, wanna date cheerleaders from senior high.
Right.
We're gonna be like freaking out, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a scary
But
world.
if you just
out
like
there.
start small, from your classmate, and then you end up getting all of these models, then it's like go Python. Just in case if you don't understand, that's probably the easy way to explain
That is
it.
very true. If I was a 15-year-old about a bunch of supermodels, I would have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. That was
Same thing
one
like
of the
Python.
topics we were talking. I remember talking about that in Tinley when we were at the house. We were talking about the young males with a confidence issue, and I was like, dude, I feel like I had a male like that. I know.
Even like the top, like the size of the top, because like male or DM 1065, right? When you put him to like let's say DM 7030, they're gonna shut down like right away. Not because of they're afraid, just like different environment or things like that.
Right.
So,
It's a scary world, man. Scary world. Out
Yes.
Yeah.
So with kind of parlaying a little bit. So with that male, so if you were going to breed it to 2 females, typically how often and how many times would you lock them together?
Once a month.
Once a month per female.
If I saw DM, because the problem is I only come to the facility like every Sunday. That's probably one of the reasons I use like that newspaper, unprinted newspaper, because I can see all the sign, that like a striping from DM blood or things like that. You can see it.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I can use it like, so let's say if the male doesn't want to breed, I can just grab it, that newspaper and then move it. I cannot do that with those substrate.
Oh, that's true. That's a good point. Yeah.
And then sometimes when I like for a new male, like the small male, sometimes when they don't get comfortable, I put some of his water balls or whatever like that along with the females wherever he goes with the top, so they feel kind of like it's their old top or something like that.
Right.
Sounds stupid, but it works.
So you even put the water bowl, the males. I haven't heard that one before. That's cool. Or, and it makes sense because they scent their area. Oh, okay. Yeah.
So let's say if the males, turn gay or something like that, right? So what happened is I take the newspaper from the other male and then I put it there. Or if it didn't work, I put the small male. I'm talking about hatchling.
Right.
Hatchling. Put it in the clear container. And then I put it with them.
Right.
Really?
So
you don't have to have the same age of F male. They just need to see a presence of the male there.
Right.
And they become like really, territorial. It's like, oh no, man, this is my woman or things like that. They lock right away. I don't spray. I don't drop temperature. I don't do anything. I just do that.
Yeah. I remember talking about that at Tinley, and it blew my mind. It blew my mind because it seems so common sense to do that, and I never.
It sounds stupid. I mean, it looks stupid, and then some breeders like making fun of me, but it works for me. I don't really care.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, whatever works, right? I mean, some people drive their snakes around in a car just to get it going. So
absolutely,
and that actually works. That actually works.
Does work.
Believe it or not, that's work. It sounds really stupid, but it works.
It does. It does. Yeah. Pack your snake up and ship it.
So I have to have a lot of like ways to get them to eat. So
right.
I've tried that thing too.
Yeah.
I've even heard of some people even shipping themselves a snake. Right? They go drop it off FedEx.
I mean, that's not necessary, but
No, I know. I've heard of it. I'll just put them in a car and drive around myself. But
even sometimes you put it in a box and then you leave it somewhere. It's probably fine too.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. I think the moral of that story is a change in environment and kind of what's happening in that snake's life can really trigger some weird things,
Oh yeah.
right?
Oh yeah.
Definitely, definitely. And that was so somebody else asked a question. If you have a female that's not producing follicles, you're ultrasounding. Maybe she's a little smaller than you'd like. Have you ever thrown in a male in there to get her eating or to get her starting follicles?
So it doesn't matter if they have follicles or not. And then so what I do is once the female hit like 1200, I put the male in.
Right.
Okay.
Doesn't matter if she has follicles or not, because from there you can gauge whether she's gonna go this season or not.
Absolutely.
Once you put the male in, usually next week she's gonna eat like there's no tomorrow.
Yep.
That's the one that's gonna go. But the one that still kind of like stay the same, you kind of like give her the time to kind of like eat more, gain some weight, so you can dictate and then tell from there.
Yeah, I like that too. I feel like the overarching general principle about what you're talking about is knowing your animals and being aware of what they're doing outside of these strict guidelines that I feel like get thrown on people,
Yeah, because what happened was, back then there's like, this I don't want to say that broke mentality, but people really afraid about competition.
Right.
So they throw out all of this nonsense just to throw people off, which is not true at all.
Right.
That's probably one of the reasons you have to build your, like for the better word, is like your team pretty much. Your these breeders, the one that already been doing it like legitly for 35 years, 40 years, because they will tell you everything that they know.
Right.
And then the funny thing is the most successful breeders is the most nice one. They give you anything you want to know.
Absolutely.
They never hold back to you. That's the best one. People that have this secret whatever usually never go anywhere.
Yep.
That's
true.
I like that though. I like that. That's a foundation of why we wanted to try to bring this to the table, is talk to people like you that have seen the market change and done this stuff and get some information out to everybody. I really like this, man. We're super grateful for having you on here. Really do appreciate it.
Yeah, because like if you think about it, right? If you tell people the best way to do, right, the efficient way to do, right, and then if they're successful, they're gonna bring more people into the hobby, right? And we're gonna grow this hobby because I don't think people really understand, like, the enemy is not the other breeders. The enemy is the government that want to shut down this hobby.
Right.
And then we inside the hobby, like, killing each other like left and right every single day. Like, that's really stupid way to do.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Especially with
because,
stuff coming.
Yeah. If you grow the this community, this hobby, like more people, it's really hard to shut down when there's more people in the hobby. It's really hard.
Yeah, just like the poor lady that was killed by her constrictor over the other day. That made national news.
Yeah.
It's
really bad. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really bad for the hobby. I mean, you have an entire city right now considering banning constrictors. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's also another law in Mississippi that just regulated like recently, right? About people needs to have like a permit or things, things like that.
Yeah,
it's great. So see, like that's for lack of a better word, is the enemy, is the government. I mean, why you killing each other out inside the hobby? You should be like helping each other out, grow their business. Because more people successful in this hobby, they're gonna bring more people.
Right, absolutely.
Because if you do something good, you're gonna tell people, huh?
Yeah, the more the better, man.
Yeah, the more the merrier, right? We need to create a bigger pie. We don't need to just segregate the current pie, right? Like that's that's the secret right there. So, man, so we continue. We're just getting more and more questions. I mean, Chris, we could literally stay here.
It's fine. Yeah,
another hour and a half, and we wouldn't even touch them. But I don't really want to do that to people. Everybody's time's valuable. Your time's valuable. So we haven't done the lightning round, and I love that segment, as cheesy as it is.
Yeah, so we do this. We do these 5 questions, and it's the first thing that comes to your mind, answer. You know, like it's
Okay.
your standard lightning round.
Okay.
So yeah, Adam, you think it's time? You think it's time for that?
I think it's time.
All right.
And so just to let everybody know, any question that's been posted, Heather's grabbed it. We're gonna have Chris on for a second time, and it's just gonna be all questions that we haven't addressed, new ones that come up if
Sure.
he's down. So
Yep.
I'm
We're
down.
gonna make Chris come on again. So
yeah, we will force him by gunpoint. No, I'm joking.
Yeah. Okay. So to start off this lightning round, we're gonna start with the first question, and it's would you rather vacation in Hawaii or Alaska?
It depends. If I go with the girls, it's gonna be Hawaii. If I'm going by myself, I'll go to Alaska, hunting and skiing and things like that. Yeah, it depends.
Perfect answer.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So what's your favorite candy?
Snickers.
Snickers, dude.
Frozen Snickers.
Great choice.
Yeah.
Question number 3: are you more of a bath guy or a shower guy?
It depends. If I'm with the girls, bath. If I'm just by myself, shower. Straight up, dude. I don't want to waste time.
Get in there, take care of business, get out. I like it.
Yeah, get out. Yeah. No wishy-washy, no chit-chat, no nothing.
No rubber duckies? Come on, man.
Maybe.
Okay. Number 4 is this is a fill in the blank. So
oh boy.
Taylor Swift is, and then fill in the blank.
Overrated.
Overrated.
Yeah.
Taylor Swift is rich. Okay. Okay. So question number 5: are you a boxers or a briefs kind of guy?
Briefs.
Briefs. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I like it. And
it's the healthier choice.
Yeah. Okay, so the 6th and final official question is: do you have in your jeans? So we've talked about those a lot tonight, right?
In the jeans. Okay.
The jeans of your pants. I'm referring to your pants. Are you a zipper guy or a button fly guy?
It depends on the style. It doesn't matter. If I like the style, if it is buttons, it's fine. If it is zipper, it's fine. Yeah.
Okay. So you're doing the very Canadian-like answer just now. Very neutral.
Neutral.
I like it.
Yeah.
So Chris, just say zipper so we could make Joel feel bad for about 5 seconds.
Like buttons? Okay.
Yeah, I'm a button guy, dude. Button guy.
Yeah.
Buttons where
it can be really tricky though sometimes, with buttons.
No, I get it.
And especially when you had a lot of drinks, Joel.
Yeah.
It would be really complex. Huh?
Yeah.
Things to do.
It's a mechanism though that I try to keep myself in check for, Like once I can't work the button fly, I should probably shut
You're
it down.
cut off.
Yeah, that's my shutter down point.
Yeah. Did you have like a bad experience with zipper jeans or something like that? That's why
I'm not
you
gonna
switch
say
over
mistakes
to buttons?
have been made, but
That's what I was gonna say. Frank and
something
Beans,
really bad happens to you, huh, Joel?
Something about Mary situation.
Yeah, something about
boy.
Mary took place.
Something happens. Okay, I got it.
Gosh, God. Yeah. No, Chris, thank you so much for coming on tonight.
Yeah.
And
thank you for having me.
Everybody who's been in chat, man, we are, we have taken note. There was a ton of questions. Like we said, we're gonna have to have you on again and ask more specific to the questions. But we like to have people on, their first time, kind of just tell us who you are and get to know you a little bit,
Just let me know in advance, and then before I, let you guys go. Also, because I know a lot of people been inviting me to their podcast or things like that, and then I just don't want them to feel like, oh, you're doing it with Joel's and Adams, why you say no to me, things like that, because the timing wasn't right.
Right.
Sometimes they are available and I'm not, and then things like that. And then we already, talk about this, since like thinly, and then Adam already asked me, about the podcast for like a while now. So
right.
Yeah, I had to pay him. We'll be completely clear. I had to pay him. So
yeah, it's okay. We take care of our interviewees.
Make it rain.
Absolutely.
No.
This is serious business over here on the Unplugged.
Right.
Totally, Chris. Thank you so much. I'm so
Yeah,
happy that
absolutely. Thank you for
your
having me,
schedule
yeah.
lined up and it worked with us. So we definitely can't wait to have you back on. Chat has just been like going crazy for you, man. Yeah, they really appreciated all the tips, words of wisdom you've given tonight.
Thank
I
you.
think we've covered some topics that like
Yeah,
we
we did.
hadn't hit from this angle before. So really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, and again, Chris, if you want to give everybody a quick how they can get a hold of you, what forms of social media, stuff like that. A lot of them are tagged in the description below, but let everybody know where they can talk to you.
Yeah, mostly just deadmouse.com, and then I know people been trying to reach me like directly because I have one staff that help me with all the emails, all of the inquiries. If it is not that really major or like super important, I would rather just have him, even though some people kind of get mad about it.
Right.
Because if it is just like a small, simple things like, like how long is the snakes? I mean, I'm not gonna drive all the way just to measure the snakes. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
Absolutely.
then but things like that. So it's not because I do not want to talk to them. I just don't have the time for it. But if it is like it's something major, like about the project, or you want to make something cool, or you want to invest, like start the hobby, then I can talk to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool.
Yeah.
That's what I like to hear, man. Yeah.
Cool.
Heck yeah. Well,
definitely.
Thank you all so much for tuning in. Until next time.
Like,
thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
We
got to do the draw.
I don't remember.
It's not quite the Vulcan.
That's awesome.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. All right. Thank you all so much. And
all right,
until
guys.
next time, we'll see
Thanks,
you guys.
everybody,
See
for
ya.
joining. See you guys.